Hi everyone, my name is Nika Jo. I became a servant to my sister Kimmy, and I did it willingly, on my own, because I deserved it. There's a lot of drama in the story, and I hope for your understanding and sympathy. I miss that a lot. Kimmy and I were close. I often told her how strange it was that we weren't born twins. She and I were so in sync that our parents used to tell us that we were the same person, like sharing the same life, but in half. We liked the same things, we had the same circle of friends despite our age difference. We read the same books at the same time, so my mother would have to buy 2 copies of each. We loved each other so much. One day, Kimmy and I went to the mountains, or rather, the 2 of us. We decided to have a day off in the woods, amongst the trees and fresh air. How are things with Thomas? Are you kidding? He's just my friend. Come on, I can see how he stares at you. Friends don't stare like that. Oh no, come on, we're just friends. He's great, but I'm not his type. What if you were his type? What are you implying? You haven't even tried to find out. Promise me that if you find out you're in love with him, you'll go out with him. Why is it so important to you? I like him. He's a nice guy and he's never betrayed you. That's important. Okay, I'll think about it. What about you? Frankie and I are fighting again. I think he's with someone else and he won't tell me. Would he? Why are you just talking about it? What would I be cheating on? If I was different, I'd slap him in the face, between the legs, and cut the hair he appreciates so much, but I'm not like that. Although sometimes I do want to. You're too kind, Kimmy. Goodness will save the world. I wish I could bring more good into this world. Just don't tell our parents. I'm an official volunteer now. I'm going to do my part to do good. Organize events, participate in fundraisers for sick children. I also plan to plant about 10,000 trees all over the city. Cool, right? I agree, it's cool. But that seems to be the one thing we don't agree on. I have more down-to-earth dreams. School, then a husband, kids, a job, and all that primitive stuff. Don't ever call your dreams that. Everyone has their own dreams, and who says there is a concept of a good dream or a bad dream? Dreams are either real or not. That's what counts. We walked and talked. I loved those moments, talking to my sister. But suddenly we were back at the same place we had left 2 hours before. Are you sure you know the way? Well, yeah, what's there to know? We've been in these woods before. When? You remember when we went on that trip with our folks a few years ago? God, Nika, that was in the Forks. That's a whole other state. What are you talking about? Really? I thought that was here. No! Man, I don't even have a map. The woods are similar. Yeah, they're kind of all pretty. Much the same. Shit, I'm sorry. That's okay, I'll just check my GPS. We don't have cell reception here. I'm telling you, we're lost. Come on, it's okay to walk around. Just enjoy the warm day. After these words, it rained heavily, with a strong wind, and we became very cold. We ran, trying to escape the rain, but it was no use. We were soaked to the skin and so cold that we reached the highway in a faint state. It was all my fault because I took my sister there and didn't take a map. We got really sick. We were hospitalized with a high fever, pneumonia, and meningitis. If you don't know, these illnesses can lead to death. Kimmy and I were in separate rooms, and my parents switched places to be with each of us. My condition was terrible. I was sleeping more often than I was awake. My head hurt like hell. The day I woke up, both Mom and Dad were sitting next to me. My first question was, "Has Kimmy recovered yet?" And Mom burst into tears. I realized she was gone. Imagine my shock. The funeral was held while I was still in the hospital. I didn't even get to say goodbye to her. They discharged me from the hospital a month later. I didn't talk to anyone the whole time. My parents tried to hold on to get me back to my old way of life. School, outings, and friends. Thomas came almost every day, but I didn't go out to see him. I didn't want to see him. And yet one day, he caught me taking out the trash. Hey, Joe. Oh, it's you. Hi, it's good to see you too. So, how are you? I'm taking out the trash. How are you? Listen, why don't we go for a walk, huh? I found a new bookstore I think you'd like. No. What? I'm sorry. I'll go. But wait. Thomas, I'm sorry. I can't. I shouldn't. What are you talking about? Forget it. Just go and don't come back, okay? Thomas was standing still when a car stopped at a traffic light. Frankie was sitting there with another girl. He looked at me and then looked away, and I was filled with rage. I rushed toward the car. The light was already green, but I got the door open and pulled him to the ground by his hair. I slapped him in the face, between the legs, and then I saw a little knife in the car, and I grabbed it. The girl was screaming for help. She wanted to kick me, but Thomas had my back. Frankie was screaming and lying on the ground, and I cut off a huge chunk of his hair and threw it in his face.
"Kimmy says hi to you, motherfucker,"
I said, and Thomas took my hand and we rode his bike away. I was overwhelmed with adrenaline. Thomas looked at me scared, and I just laughed.
Is everything okay?
"I feel so good. I did it for her. I got my revenge on him. Right? What if I could do all that stuff for her? She didn't make it because of me, and I can. I'm not dead, am I? I'm the reason she's dead, but I can finish everything for her."
Thomas didn't understand a thing, but I asked him to take me to the volunteer center. I signed up there instead of my sister, and every day since then, I went out for some kind of action, cleaning up the grounds. It didn't take long before I started getting my hair done like Kimmy, wearing her clothes, even talking like her. I contributed my first paycheck to a charity for children with cancer, using my other paycheck to buy seedlings, and planted the first tree in our backyard. I planted it and talked to it like I would to Kimmy. At first, I thought that was how I could redeem myself for taking my sister down, but then it got worse. The next day, Thomas came in.
Knock, knock. Hey.
Oh, hey, Thomas. How are you?
Hi. Great. Wow. Are you...
What?
You're a real fly-by-night, Kimmy.
What do you mean?
Well, you're different now. A lot like her.
You're kidding me. Nika's not home. Do you want to come over later?
What do you mean?
Literally. Oops, sorry. I've got to meet Frankie to discuss something.
Wait, Nika.
Come on, I'm Kimmy. I told you my sister is not home. I honestly believed and didn't know what I was talking about. Turns out I'd gotten so caught up in the role of my sister that I was living her life, paying off a lifetime of debt. Thomas didn't want to back down. He decided to drive me wherever I told him to go. On the way, we got talking, and he played along.
So, Kimmy.
Yeah?
And Nika, does she like me at all?
I think you'd better ask her yourself. But I'll help you. If you make the first move, she might not say no.
So...
Where are we?
We're going through the woods. It's a shorter way.
The woods? What? A forest? Where are you taking me? What's going on here?
I'm sorry, Nika. I've been in touch with your parents. We're concerned. The psychologist said it would help.
"Nika, who? She's gone. There's only Kimmy."
Then I saw my parents and the psychologist in front of me. Thomas was standing next to me. He brought me there, and it started to rain. Painful memories enveloped me. I fell to the ground and sobbed.
I can't live knowing that I took her life. She had such big dreams. How could I have taken it all away from her?
A psychologist's voice was heard in parallel. She was telling me that her death was not my fault, and that I didn't have to work off an invented debt. Then Thomas came up and hugged me and said,
She wanted you to live your dreams, because a dream is either there or it isn't. There's no such thing as a good or a bad dream, right?
And it was like I sobered up. So that's how it ended. I let go of Kimmy, and I started to get my life together. Thomas was always there, and Kimmy is always in my heart. And I was free.
I always thought I knew my family well. Everyone has their own secrets. But we try to live without them, especially when it comes to something important. My mother raised us like this. We trusted her and my sister, but then it turned out that I was wrong. That after all, my little sister Anna had something to hide. And when I revealed her secret, I was confused, because it was shocking. My name is Frankie, as I said, and I have a little sister, Anna, who's very sweet and kind, or so I thought. My parents and I thought she was almost a dandelion. Since I was a child, my father told me to stand up for her, to protect her always, to be there for her, and to be able to listen. Because I'm her own person, and the only one who wants only the best. You understand that it doesn't always work out that people we call friends always be with us. This is life. There's nothing bad or good here. It's just normal and you need to accept it. I remembered my parents' instructions, and I always try to do my duty as a brother. When Anna was growing up, we watched it with emotion because she was the youngest child. We have a small age difference of 3 years, but it still strengthened my position as the senior in the house. So one day, when we went to school with her, we were almost hit by a car on the way there. I was so scared, but I reacted quickly, pushing her to the side of the road. Anna fell straight into the mud, but she wasn't hurt. I was fine too. I remembered the car. I wanted to go to the police, but Anna dissuaded me. She said that it was some kind of jerk, that it wasn't worth it. I listened to her, and I shouldn't have. Around the same time, we began to notice that Anna was separating from us. She spent more and more time alone in the room, and often began to go out for a walk. I understood that she was a teenager. Apparently there were friends, interests, and so on. We didn't want to limit or intrude too much into her personal space, but the more we kept quiet, the more she had a life of her own. I never tried to talk to her. Maybe something's bothering her. But she just smiled back at me, and that's it. Anna liked to run to the house in our yard, where we kept unnecessary junk, but Sister cleaned it up properly, made it cozy, and she went there with her friends. Sometimes they all spent the night there. My mother occasionally visited there, but Anna did not like it, so we tried not to disturb her once again. Our distance from each other worried me. I could feel something happening, but I couldn't figure out what it was. Almost 6 months had passed in this way. Anna was completely different. She was no longer the same cheerful girl, and one day, I decided to pick her up after school. I went to pick her up in class, but the teacher said that she hadn't shown up for school for 3 days. Yes, I'm sorry. I stopped by out of habit. I forgot. She's sick. I'm sorry, Miss Travel. She'll be here tomorrow. I said to the teacher, and I left. I had to lie so she wouldn't call the parents. I was already seriously worried, which meant that something had happened, and I needed to find out what it was. The first thing I did was go to her friend Barbara's house, where they'd been friends for several years. When she saw me, she was surprised. We just talked to her on the phone yesterday. She said that she was at home, that everything was fine. She said that she would do her homework because today she has a chemistry test, Barb said. My sense of unease was transmitted to her. Her friend said that Anna had changed a lot. She's become secretive since she met a guy named Brad. I immediately asked who he was and where he came from, but according to her, my little sister didn't really want to talk about him. They spent a lot of time together, so for the last 3 weeks, we haven't even met once. Just talked on the phone, she said. I decided to find him. But there was so little information, that I realized that it was possible that I would find something in her room. I went home and told my mother that Anna had gone to visit Barbara, and I went to my sister's room secretly. I quickly searched the room, but found nothing special, absolutely nothing. However, the only thing that I noticed was some kind of book, or rather a notebook with numbers. What they meant, I didn't understand. I took it with me, and then I abruptly remembered about the house in the yard. I went there and saw a combination lock with a hesitant movement. I tried to enter the numbers combination, but everything was wrong. For 20 minutes I tried to open it and even break down the door, but nothing happened. I sat down on the ground, and I began to think, what is it that she installed a combination lock? And then suddenly I felt her notebook in my pocket. I tried a few numbers, and voila, the door opened. I went in there and turned on the light. In general, everything looked the same as always, just a little dirty. After a little digging, I suddenly noticed the shoes. They were men's shoes, and Brad came to mind. Ugh, I didn't even want to think about him being here. I checked the wardrobe, the sofa, the table, but there was nothing special, and before I left, I tripped over the shoes and almost fell, hitting the wall next to the TV. I clicked on something, and I heard a click. The head immediately turned to the side of the door. Only now I noticed that the recess in the shape of the door was different in color from the main wall. As soon as I opened it, almost fell in a small opening, like a tiny room. I saw a weapon. Oh, my God. Sis, where are you going? I thought. I didn't take it with my bare hands, so I took Anna's t-shirt, wrapped it up, and took it back to me. I had my things in a safe place, along with my notebook. Almost as soon as I walked in, my mom asked me to call Anna, and she told me the news. There was a murder in the city, and it happened just a couple blocks away. I was worried. I called Anna, but she didn't answer, and a moment later, she appeared on the doorstep. She behaved so naturally and sat down at the table and began to ask what was for lunch. My mother asked me about school, and I sat there and listened to how easy it was for her to lie. I didn't know how to talk to her, where to start, and then a couple of hours later, she said that a friend had come to visit her and she wanted to go. My mother only allowed me a stand outside the house, and Anna agreed. When the car arrived, I recognized it. It was the sedan that almost hit us on the road. They went into the house. In the yard, I followed them. He was so ugly, older than her, and my heart sank. I couldn't help but rush in, grab him by the collar, and push him against the wall, and the door opened. Anna nervously cast a glance there, and he asked, Where? Where is he? Not even paying attention to the fact that I'm holding him. Anna said she didn't know, and then she yelled at me. It all happened so fast. Your weapon's in a safe place with all your prints, I told him, and he turned pale. What did you get her into? While Anna begged me to let him go. Brad tried to free himself, but he couldn't, and I clenched my fist and was about to paint his face, when Anna said that I had misunderstood everything. Brad tried to hit me again, So I did it first and he passed out. Anna began to cry and I demanded an explanation. She begged him not to turn him into the police and said that his brother accidentally shot while playing with a gun and wounded a man. Brad tried to hide it, but she helped him. I asked her where he got it and why he almost ran us over on the road, and she said it was his stepfather's, and he was a criminal, but Brad's mother loved him, so she asked him to hide it. The stepfather's being tried. If he gets caught again, he'll be put in jail forever. She loves him, and Brad, he's protecting his little brother. His stepfather was in the car at the time. He was drunk and doesn't even remember driving. Anna said, as I was stunned, and then Brad came to his senses and told me the same thing. He begged me not to hand him over to the police, but I said I couldn't let it go. But I knew that my sister would also suffer for possession of a weapon. We told our parents, and they were horrified, but they thanked me for doing the right thing. Brad's stepfather was jailed for selling illegal things. Anna was interviewed, and Brad himself was also punished. He's now working out his allocated hours of community service. At first, Anna was angry, but then she promised not to get into any more trouble, or at least not to hide it from me. It's all over now. Tell me, guys, you like my story? Write your opinion about it in the comments below the video. Don't forget to put likes, share the video with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.